What's up, guys? Already had a shower, and we're just gonna do a Leetcode problem. Ooh. I believe we did 100 now. We have 50 more. Now, the question becomes these blind 75 questions. Now, a 2D dynamic programming one is one that I do want to do. Oh, hello, Void. Welcome. Welcome, man. Have a look. Yes, Fig. Fig actually. Fig the cat. I had a question yesterday. I was wondering if you're down to solve it. If you're talking about a Leetcode problem, I'm gonna try solve this one first, but maybe I'll do that one tomorrow if you send it to me. Like, send it through on Discord, is what I'm saying. Alright. Let's go. Let's go. So, this one, whoops, undo, is gonna be called longest common subsequence. Okay. Why is that? Thing is though, why do I feel as though we have a longest common subsequence already? No, we don't. Okay, that's alright. Kabir Sharma, do you always go recursive memoization tabulation when solving a DP problem, or straight to tabulation? I try to think about the problems in recursive, then think about it in memoization, and then yes, I do try and think about it in tabulation. But more recently, because I have less time, I am more inclined to just go straight to tabulation. So yeah, that is the way that I will be going about it more. But I think it is still worth going through recursive, memoization, and tabulation once, like maybe like 5 times in total at the minimum. For me, that's basically how much I did. And, you know, going through all of those different solutions does take time. So if you are short on time, it can stagger, it can like stifle your progress in a sense. So if it does end up stifling progress, then you might as well go straight to tabulation. That is if you're limited on time. When I wasn't, I spent like an hour to 2 hours just on one question, going through the different recursive, memoization, tabulation ways of solving the problem, and tabulation optimization. You know, O1 space type shit. Alright, regardless, I think this is going to be a difficult problem for me. We'll see. Given 2 strings, text 1 and text 2, return the length of the longest common subsequence between 2 strings if 1 exists. Otherwise, return 0. A subsequence is a sequence that can be derived from the given sequence by deleting some or no elements without changing the relative order of the remaining characters. For example, cat is a subsequence of crabbed. common subsequence of two strings is a subsequence that exists in both strings. So if you have text1 cat, text2 crowd, the output is 3. So the output is the length. Return the length of the longest common subsequence between the two strings if one exists. The longest common subsequence is cat, which has a length of 3. ABCD, ABCD output is 4, ABCD, EFGH is 0. Consists of only lowercase English characters, 1 to text1 length, text2 length less than 1000. Cool. Okay. So Void, I'm looking at what you're saying. Like, to be honest, I relate a lot to that type of issue, you know, because it's like, you know, you've solved a problem. How is that? How can you think about solving the problem better? Or how can you think about solving the problem so that you can solve one for a future problem like this? I think it's just recognizing patterns, but also like I've done basically, what, 10 dynamic programming problems now? And yet I feel like I've needed to look at the solutions for each and every one of them. So you're not the only one. And I would reckon that you just need more practice. Like, for me, I think I just need more practice with the ones, with just more dynamic programming problems, right? But obviously try and notice the patterns, right? Try and learn from them. Even better is if you revisit them more often. Yeah. You know, some of it requires a little bit of ingenuity, I guess you could say, but let's have a look at this one. Let's see if we can actually think of anything for this one. I know this is a 2D dynamic programming problem. I might want to say revisit what the previous 2D dynamic programming problem was at this stage, and I think that would be a good bet right now for me, right? So let's say I take a look at what unique paths was as a 2D dynamic programming problem. Okay, well, you memorize a grid. So it's a list of lists here. And then the rest is just breaking down into subproblems. Okay. Well, I can understand how that became a 2D dynamic programming problem, because it is just 2D. Even with this question, you look at the input, 2 strings, output, int. With this, you can solve around 10 questions on Leetcode itself. And longest common substring, longest palindrome subsequence. Damn, bro. That is deep. Thank you, Kabir, for that insight. Hello, Nahi. Thank you for joining, man. Okay. So let's say this is a DP problem. Dynamic programming. Bottom-up dynamic programming. Let's say dynamic programming for now. Just some light reading before bed. You could say that. Watching this at work? Alright. Epic. Keep me in the background. Okay. Let's try and think about this, right? And then maybe we'll look at some, because I might need them. But my thinking is, right, in the recursive approach, what would occur is you have a decision tree with either to include or to exclude the current letter when you look through the letters. Let me also point this camera down a little bit. Point this camera down a little bit. Okay. Let's say, right, that when you think about this problem, oh, Pig's right behind me. Yes. Kitten. This cat just sat on my table. Walking by. Oh. Yep. I'll just let the cat do its thing. Yes. Yes, pig. Fish pig. The cat wants company. Because I'm renting right now, I'm also the only one to look after this cat in this household. Whereas the other people that were meant to be in this household have gone back to celebrate Christmas. And gone back, I mean gone back to their own states in Australia. Oh. OpenAI's O3 model. And my C. Right. So, my thoughts. O3 model. Actually don't have much thoughts because I haven't actually read into it. However, if it's anything, if it's like any other, then I would say, well, it's still not going to kill us software engineers yet. That's my personal belief. But yet again, I haven't looked closely into it just yet. No, it's insane, dude. Alright. We will see about that. I will say also then that yeah, I will have to see. I will have to see. It's pretty good, but it's not AGI. I agree. I'd like to understand fully what's below, what's inside, how they've trained it, what methods they've used, and if they're still using reasoning. Placed 175 on a competitive programming site. I see. Even still, I guess, even still, it goes to show that competitive programming can be learned. If anything, it kind of reinforces the fact that anybody can learn competitive programming and get to top 200 if they spend as much time as O3. Or maybe it's not as much time, but something else. Anyway, I'm speculating. Alright, regardless. How I think about this problem, right? It's going to be a decision tree. that chooses between including or excluding current letter in Word. And then you can build out this decision tree. Fine. I see no problems there. But once you got this decision tree built out, where is the repeating parts? Say you have a decision tree with, let's just say, the thing is, it's not just one decision tree, it's two. Is this not also doable with a try? To some extent? I feel like this is. Alright, let me have a quick look at the hint. Oh, what's this? I can't know which companies. Alright, that's do you ever translate your Leetcode problems over to Leetcode or just redo them on Leetcode when you're free? Usually I just copy and paste the Leetcode problems to Leetcode. So yeah. What's your take on learning competitive programming for cracking top FANG companies? Is it really required? No, I don't think it's required. Like, I don't consider myself as learning competitive programming right now. I'm learning Leetcode. So I guess you can think that's like the main difference. I mean, there is a difference, is what I'm saying. There is a difference between competitive programming and just learning Leetcode. So I don't think it's required for learning competitive programming. I feel like competitive programming is harder in general. Oh, try dynamic programming. So DPIJ represents the longest common subsequence of text. Okay. I think that's interesting. DPIJ represents the longest common subsequence of text. So we're going to have a DP, longest common subsequence for I in range. For this in range of text 2. So I'm going to call it M. N and M and N. M and N. Alright, so text 1, N, len, text 2. And then this times M, range of N. Okay. So this is everything initialized to 0 though. Alright, we'll think about this. Okay. Alright, so DP. Okay, let's think. So what does it mean, right? So one of these cells, say DP00, represents given the string. So say the string was cat and the other string was crabbed. then it would mean that C and C they are the same. The longest common subsequence when you have 0 and 0. What? We're going to say that's 1? Would we? Because tell me then, what is 1 and 1? Like, what does that equal to? What does that even mean, right? We're saying I is A, J is R? No. Let me look back at this. So it says 0 to I, 0 to J. Text 0 to I and 0 to I see. So if you start from, so it's C and C, then it becomes C and A, sorry, CA and CR. Or you could go 0, in which case it's just C and CR. C and CR would be 1. DP of, say, 1 and 1 is going to equal to CA, CR, which is still 1. But if you have DP of 1 and 2, then you are including up to A, in which case you can exclude R and have 2 as your longest common subsequence. Okay, so that's the thought. How do you keep track of, say, when you're at... So look, we'll do some stuff. So this is directly after, and this is after some time you reach DP of 1, 0. And when you get DP of 1, 0, that means CR and C, that gives you 1. DP of 1 on 1 is CR and CA, that's still 1. But how would you use a previous value to find that it is fine? So then if you go DP1, 2, you have CA and CRA. Well, since CA and CR returns a 1 at best, if so C and C is consumed, A and R. If the value is equal to this value, then you can DP this. If then you go to this, still not. Then say this is here, would still CA, then it still would not. And because it's marked as consumed, right? Like, what's the difference, say, with this A and this? This is consumed. This is not consumed. Sorry, A is not consumed. And we found that previously it had to be just consumed 1. If it was A, it could be 0. If it was A, it could be 0. Does initializing everything to 0 have a problem? I don't think so. It just means you don't do anything and everything is starting from 0. Alright, and then what? Say you go B, you have CA. If you have CA and then a B, but because A is consumed, you know that the rest is always going to be just those 2 values. Interesting. And then T, once T is in the picture, cat and C, that's 1. Cat and CR is 1. Cat and CRA is 2. Cat and CRAB is 2. Cat and CRAB. So when you got cat, and CRAB, alright, let's have a look. So for I in range of M, for J in range of N, DP of I and J, text 1 I, text 2 J, if text 1 I is equal to text 2 J, I think that is the way. Then once you reach that condition, what? C and C? Then you say you increment dpij by 1. So 0, 0 is going to be 1. Then when J increments, so it's going to be CR and C. If J or R is not equal to C, and DP of the previous. So how do you denote the previous? In this case, the previous is 0, 0. The DP of 0, 0. I and j minus 1. It's something to consider. J minus 1 just means you have to ensure that j minus 1 exists. How can you do that though? How can you really ensure that? Alright, let's keep that booked in my head, and then dpi j minus 1, if this is greater than 0, then it means dpi of j increments by 1. Well, not increments by 1. It is equal to dp of I and j minus 1 plus 1. Pig's meowing. Okay. Well, what does this tell me? What do I think, guys? What do I think? I will actually close the sidebar, give myself more room. Maybe just give myself this way as well, laterally. Okay. All right. I know I'm missing a few things here, critical parts. But let's just continue with the logic. So now if you have DRA and C. If you have C and CR, then because C is already consumed, you know the rest is just going to be the smallest of the two. So if I is greater than j, or if j is greater than I. Alright, let's think about this. If j is greater than I, then dp of ij minus 1, or ij, is equal to dp of ij minus 1. This does make sense. And this would suggest this is the largest possible common subsequence. And that would kind of get rid of that. I know this is getting ugly, right, but Let me just remove it actually. Alright, if j is greater than I, that's what happens. Again, I'm neglecting the fact that j minus 1 could error here very easily. Alright, so look. If j is greater than I, if j is equal to 0, then j and yeah. And if j is this, let's continue, but if it's not, then we can continue there. But it means that on the first value every time, that means if j is 1, right? J is 1 every time, DAT, if you have just 1, so if you have 0, I equals 0, j equals 0, then we got I is 1 and j is 0, you would want to use the lower of the two. And this isn't using the lower of the two. If I is greater than j, dp I j equal to dp j, sorry, I minus 1 j, alright, because then you have CA and C. If I is greater than j, and they don't match, but this doesn't check for whether it's consumed or not. I don't think this is the right way. There's another part of this I'm missing, so I'm going to quickly check this hint too. Okay. So if text 1, I and j is equal, dpij is the max of I. Otherwise, oh wait. Is this? Perhaps this. Okay. Okay. So yeah. Okay. What if you scan these together, right? D equal, so continue. CA and CR, 1. CAT and CRA is 2. If they are the same, then you would add the 2. Doesn't make sense. Max of if this is equal, otherwise max of the 2. Interesting. Let me go with that line of thinking then. If that is the line of thinking, then perhaps means that we do something like this. I'm gonna put this down. Could possibly mean otherwise if they're not equal, then I guess you can go else. DP of something, and DP of something else. Now it's the max of the I can see how that works. And then what? The problem becomes these ranges. 1 to n plus 1 maybe? 1 to n plus 1. With lens n plus 1. Range n plus 1. String index out. Okay, string index out of range makes sense. Obviously because well, I'm indexing it kind of wonky. Technically, if I do this, Will this work? I is out of range? Let me think. Why would that be? I guess so. What if we just go to N? X out of range? Okay. Why is it out of range? Let me think. If I go from 0, I know that it'll go wrap around and then we'd have issues. If it wraps around, does it cause any issues realistically? Yes. Because this will be targeting the very last, +1. Doesn't make sense. If I and j equals 0, j, oh, kitty, yeah, pressing lots of buttons for me. Max of DPI. Max of 2. Well, it depends. Setting the cat. Setting the cat. Where? Walking in my suitcase. Curious cat. Okay. I think I might be stuck again. Find j equals 0 though. What does that tell me? I or j is equal to 0. Are we taking the max? DP I 0. DP j 0 and j. What does that give me? I 0. Okay. How does that get out of range? How does DPI get out of range ever? Have I done this incorrectly? Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4? How? Hmm. Oh yeah, it is N. Yeah, it is. I did flip it around. Wow. Well, that is kind of rip. I can think of it in rows and columns instead of an N. Perhaps that's easier. Rows. Rows. Cols. Rows. Rows. Cols. Hmm. The fuck? Okay. Then we return DP of now this has to be my I believe. Your output was 2 when you expected output 1. Okay. Let's have a look. Use test case. Run. Okay. Have a look more closely at each of the DP. So originally, Okay, well that's hard to read. Do 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 do. Row column. Right. We would want to know what it is. Hmm. Dang. Ended out. Let me think. How can I break this to a... I can break this down to an... Checking out exactly what... It's likely that it comes from... that. Could be that in this test case. Okay. Fine. Let me have a look. ESP-INIM. E SBINJMKV. Only name 24682469. Maybe one is greater by one. That's still confusing. In this case, that's bottom up. Oh wow, this looks cleaner. So I was on the right track, but I still didn't get the right. What the fuck? Alright, no, that's... Alright, not bad. Not bad. And this is an 18-minute solution. So I'm gonna say that this 18-minute solution can wait. We're not gonna watch it, but we'll watch it tomorrow. And with this in mind, we're gonna come back to this as well tomorrow and finish this off. So since it's like 10:15, I'm gonna end the day. But it's good to have gone through this problem, you know, just without fully solving this. I was somewhat on the right track, just probably got lost in the source code. So we're gonna call it, and then we'll come back to this tomorrow. It'll be a better day. All right, thank you guys. Peace.